Hello and welcome to America Latina Story. Today we are going to talk about the highest mummies on earth, the children of Yuyayako. The date is March 1999. Two vehicles of the Argentinian army and a private 4x4 stop at an altitude of 4,900 meters at the Yuyayako base camp, a volcano 6,739 meters above sea level, the second highest active volcano of the world, located in the Andes mountain range in northwest Argentina. On board, a team of 14 people comprising Peruvian and Argentinian archaeologists led by the official explorer of the National Geographic Society, Dr. Johann Reinhardt. Dr. Reinhardt had already discovered some 50 high-altitude Andean Inca ritual sites, including, on one of them in southern Peru, the famous frozen mummy known as the Ice Maiden. He had previously conducted extensive archaeological excavation on the volcano's flanks in the 1980s, and from the structures and remains he had uncovered, he believed that something important should be at the top of the Yuyayako. However, what he was about to discover was going to exceed his wildest hopes. Let us go back 500 years, within the society of an Inca empire which was living its last years. The Inca Empire lasted nearly a century, from 1438 to 1533. It occupied a vast territory of 1,800,000 square kilometers that stretched from present-day Colombia to Chile and from Argentina to the Pacific. This territory was divided into 4 large regions called suyus by a kind of cross of St. Andrew, whose geographic, administrative and religious center was Cusco. The whole was perfectly connected by an impressive road and track network, known today as the Inca Trail. Nature was sacred for the Incas, especially the mountains and their summits where the earth touches the sky. They built on these summits small sanctuaries called adoratories. Around 200 of these have been discovered to this day. The grand ceremonies of the Incas were related to the nourishing rhythm of nature, and by far the most important annual religious festival was the Capacocha that took place at harvest time. These ceremonies occurred at the same moment throughout the whole empire, and as a means to further unify this empire, children of Inca dignitaries known for their beauty were sent to Cusco from all over the empire to participate in symbolic weddings aimed at uniting the destinies of regions far from each other. Then, these children returned on foot, first to their place of origin, before being directed, still on foot, to the lieu of their sacrifice, sometimes very distant, 1,500 kilometers in our case. There, they were made to drink plenty of corned beer before being buried alive, surrounded by many sacred objects and textiles. According to the Incas, this sacrifice was an honor for these children and their families, The sacrificed children would not die, but would unite with the ancestors to protect the towns and villages of the surrounding high-altitude plains and valleys. And it was three of these sacrificed children that Reinhardt and his team found buried atop the Uyayako among snow, ice and rocks in an environment swept by freezing high winds. Apart from the fact that the place is the most elevated archaeological site on Earth, the discovery presents another peculiarity of the utmost importance. Unlike the mummies on the banks of the Nile that were artificially mummified, those of the Uyayako were naturally so by rapid freezing in a natural, sanitized environment, leaving the bodies, their outward appearance and internal organs, as if they had been buried the day before, not 500 years ago. The mummified children are a 7-year-old boy with a deliberately deformed skull, as was customary with certain Inca dignitaries, a 6-year-old girl, and a 15-year-old girl known as the doncella. They are seated, dozing, their legs more or less folded over the chest. The effect is such that the museum dedicated to them in Salta in Argentina, which houses them, offers an alternative route to sensitive visitors who do not wish to contemplate them. These mummies are displayed in rotation for periods of 6 months and are kept in an environment that reproduces the conditions of the place where they were found. As a last point of this program, the date of this sacrifice corresponds more or less to that of the arrival of the Spaniards. It leads to the following question. Was this sacrifice made by the Incas on the topmost summit of their world a last attempt to obtain the benevolence of the gods before the ultimate tragedy and the fall of their empire? Thank you for watching this program. Do not hesitate to subscribe to the channel. If you are interested in antiquity and the history of Rome, I would like to recommend Dr. Gareth Ryan's channel, Told in Stone. This is all for now. Goodbye.